during my time of being a caregiver, I was getting put on a pedestal because people would see all of the things that I had to do for my husband, which was really, really intense. And I deep down knew that I was also struggling and sometimes was taking that struggle out on my husband. And I didn't like being put on a pedestal. I don't think anyone belongs on a pedestal, but personally, when somebody puts you on one, it felt like it was a personal responsibility to say, wait. While I am thankful for y'all recognizing when I'm doing well, I want you to also see the human side of me. And so I became very transparent in sharing my life. And I shared some really vulnerable, not flattering pieces of myself. And oftentimes I would cringe before. I'd be like, do I really have to go there? Like, do I really have to share this? What are you doing, girl? Like, protect yourself. But as you're building a following, and it just felt like I needed to be authentic. I didn't want people who were in the same position as me to look at me and say, I wish I could be doing it as well as her, when I knew I was still acting up and I was still struggling. So, like if my husband went to the bathroom and I didn't have help and I yelled at him, I'd come on Instagram and be like, I just yelled at my husband who cannot help but and so I started to share so raw and vulnerably, that's hard to say, so raw and vulnerably. And the feedback loop is what kept me sharing, because people were really appreciative of, wow, I'm not actually alone in this struggle. And so it's really helped me have this perspective of living life out loud, really honestly, helps other people not feel like they're alone in their own struggles. And I wanted to normalize, especially as a caregiver, like this is hard. This is hard work. And you can't expect yourself to show up perfectly all the time. And I literally would share every piece of vulnerability to remove myself from the platform that they would put me on. And honestly, putting yourself out there in like an honest, real, raw way is a wild kind of vulnerability. And there's times where that's really hard thing to do. And I didn't want to do it. And I wanted to just like hide. And there was a voice that I had to learn to listen to that was louder, saying, hey, actually you sharing your story is part of your life's purpose. And you can really impact a lot of people. And who knows, you might even save some lives. And it fueled me, and it actually helped me find purpose in my struggle. In a very dark time where I was really hard on myself because I wasn't showing up as well as I wanted to, it helped me find grace for myself in just saying, hey, y'all, like I'm human and this is my human experience and let me share it. And so I've had to sort of pivot the message, obviously, because I'm in a vastly different place. And I'm now feeling like I'm rebuilding my community, because now I'm coming at you from a healed place. And I want to make sure I'm maintaining that same authenticity of like, hey, just because I'm feeling really healed and hopeful doesn't mean that I'm also not feeling anxiety about whatever is going on in my life at the moment. And so my biggest life purpose is to make sure that I am being honest enough with myself, which is the hardest kind of honesty, so that I can make sure I'm being honest with everyone who I'm privileged to reach. And that's really my message, is to live my life as authentically as possible and share the ways in which I could go from as broken as I could ever imagine myself being to feeling so hopeful and so like there's so much possibility in my life right now. And I feel so capable. And to be able to say that after coming from such a broken place feels like such a beautiful message that sometimes I have to get out of my own head, and I don't really have to come up with some catchy phrase. It's just my life is literally the message of hope. Like, if I can heal, I know that it's possible for other people. And it's such a mission of mine to be able to bring that to other people. One of the things that helped me in this process, when I decided to remove myself from the pedestal and be very honest with the world about my struggles, it helped me actually learn to allow people to give me my flowers you know, when people were trying to give me compliments, I'd often feel really cringy about them because I didn't feel like they knew the whole scope of who I was as a human. And I also, at that point, wasn't accepting myself in the whole scope of who I was as a human. So sharing my life more out loud helped me find an acceptability within. Yes, I'm going to forever be the girl that strives to be the best version of myself. But I also, just like I give grace to everyone around me, I have to give myself grace. And you can't heal or change your behavior if you're doing it from a place of self hate. It has to be from self love. I had to start to look at myself from a place of self love and loving all of the pieces of me. And that's really when I started to understand that's where the magic lies in healing, is that you can see all the pieces. You're awkward, you're messy, you're anxious, you're sometimes angry, fierce, feisty. All of them are worthy of existing and having your love. And the more you love those pieces, the more the light starts to show. The more you find yourself being hopeful and patient and loving and kind, because you're already giving yourself that. And so, just like you can't be honest with other people if you're not being honest with yourself, you can't be as loving and kind to other people if you're not being loving and kind to yourself. So, it really starts all with loving yourself, really. And now that I am the girl that is forever bringing hope up in conversations, it's not just because it's my name, but it's because I am so thankful to have experienced what I have experienced, but to now be back at a place of feeling positive. And it just feels like my gratitude is so loud about it that I can't help, but that's what I want to talk about. It's the fact that healing is actually possible. And I didn't see it. I didn't see it for myself. There was a point after I stopped being a caregiver after my husband passed away that I couldn't figure out what was possible. I thought that hope as I know it was done, and that I was never going to be able to have an impact on the world or such a purpose. And it makes me so thankful that I've gotten to this place. And it makes me want everyone to have that same chance and opportunity to believe in themselves and to feel that same hope and joy and possibility. I think that part of me sharing myself out loud and using my story is also helped lend to me really knowing myself. And I think self awareness and just self knowledge is one of the most beautiful gifts you can give yourself in life, to really know yourself and know your shadows, so you understand what you're capable of and you understand the love that you need to give yourself while you learn to integrate, allows you to really know your light. It lets you know your genius and the gift you offer the world. And that's part of the reason why I share myself so vulnerably, is I want to encourage everyone to know themselves at the level at which I do, because that's when you are in your power.
So now I want to talk